Well, Craigs, we're talking to you so much these days. It's a hectic schedule for you, and how are the boys coping with it so far?
Well, they're fine. We haven't trained an awful lot since the game the other night. I think it's important to try and keep them as fresh as we possibly can. We've had a couple of meetings with some tactical stuff on the pitch, just really to try and reaffirm the message what we're always speaking about, in possession and out of possession. So, the boys are fine. They covered quite a lot of distance the other night. With GPS, you can kind of monitor it a little bit better. Again, there'll be a few changes. With normal, with 20s, you're always chopping and changing, players coming in. With the lads being out on loan, Big Dylan and Tom being on loan, likelihood is they won't be involved. So, there's always plenty going on. Sometimes you never actually always get the team that you would ideally like on the pitch. Whether that's because people are injured or the manager drops some down or someone out on loan. So it all adds up. But ultimately, we're ready for the game. We're quite prepared and we're looking forward to it.
A lot of people could say that consistency is hard to come by at 20s level, but the boys have been in fine form recently. Do you think Monday night's just a mere blip and they'll get back to it?
Well, we hope so. Having watched the back, there wasn't an awful lot wrong really. Because we'd slightly changed our shape to play against them, I probably should have changed it again to play with more width. I look back at the Hamilton game and I think three of our goals anyway certainly came from cross balls. And because we slightly played with a diamond the other night, we didn't get enough width in the game. So we didn't get very many crosses into the box to kind of cause that threat. So that kind of consistent side comes from consistent performances and kind of the theme of tactics and shape being the same. But when you have to change it, sometimes you have to try and adapt. We probably didn't adapt well enough. I probably should have simplified it for them and just matched up against Kilmarnock. There's things you learn as you go, and things you try and do. So it's as much as them being consistent as me as well. So tomorrow, hopefully, we will get that consistency back again. As because of the changes. Players not being up to speed, players not being match fit. The 20 sometimes is for senior players to get match fitness out of. So, we're expecting some senior players to come in. I'm not too sure who at the minute, but certainly there'll be one or two coming in. And we hope they give us a little bit of a boost. I always think it's important for the senior players to come in and perform and show the young players what it's all about. They have to come and set the example. And more often than not this season, the senior players have. And
just looking at Celtic, Craig's first time this season to face them, do you think this will be a good test for things coming up? Obviously Celtic in the Cup as well, perhaps?
Yeah, well, I've said to them previously, even in senior football, you always get judged against the old firm for some reason. People stand up and take a little bit more notice of how you play against the old firm. Can you cope? Because the kids at Celtic and Rangers have to cope with the expectation, of playing with that jersey. And Celtic have been the most consistent side in this league for the past 5-6 years. They've got a good squad of players. Tommy McIntyre has put a few out on loan, but he's still got a lot of good young ones coming through. A couple of the boys who made into the first team, young Jack Aitchison got on. Calvin Miller's been involved around the first team. So they're a good side. They don't win games all the time for no reason. They win it because they've got the best players in the country probably. The challenge for us, and along with all the other teams, is to try and match it. Try and match it on a consistent basis. Over the past 2 seasons we haven't been able to because they've been that good. I think they've lost a couple of games this season, but again, they'll be learning about their young players as well. So it's a great test for us. They'll handle the ball well, their shape will be good, they've got pace in wide areas, they've got guys who can score goals. They scored 5 on Monday night against Partick Thistle, so we know they're going to be a threat. But ultimately we have to try and impose ourselves in the game, and we have to be brave in the ball, and we have to compete, and we have to see that or show that we can compete at this level, that we can stand up against them. Even if it's a one-off game, we can do it in a one-off game. That's what will impress the manager most here, that's what will impress me. So there's a little bit of focus and attention on them, a little bit of expectation from my part certainly, so it should be a good game.
And one of the things I want to ask you about, Craigs, I saw you earlier with James Scott sitting down going over some clips. How much does that play a part for these boys? And you say that they take on the advice so well. Are you pleased with the way it's all been going?
Well, you hope to take it on board. That's it's part of the stuff we've done. I know Ross Clarkson does a lot of hours, tagging the game for us. Unfortunately, he tagged it yesterday for 2 hours and then his computer broke and he had to do it again. So, that's the life and soul of the club, that we need everybody mucking in together and working hard together. And it gives me the opportunity to sit with the young players. We decided at the start of the season we needed to give them a little bit more feedback and show them themselves playing. And listen, most clubs have it, so we're not the only club to have it. It's just where resources at other clubs may be a lot more, so there's maybe more analysts and stuff getting on. So we're almost like a one-man band in here. But it's great for them, I'm able to sit down, I'm able to pause it and speak to them and ask them what they think. I get them to make notes on what they've done, so I can compare what my notes to their notes to see if we're on the same wavelength. And it's the only way to get young players to progress, is to see themselves, is to learn from it, to understand what they're doing. And the only way you see if they learn is the next time they go onto the pitch, what do they do? If they keep making the same mistake, you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Keep going through with them. Just to make sure they're on top of the game, because we want them to give them the best possible opportunity of progressing. I'm not the only one that does it, but I enjoy doing it because I can see them starting to now buy into what we're doing and understand what we're looking for. And the sooner that happens for them, then the better.
Well, we look forward to tomorrow night, Craigs.
I look forward to it. Cheers, boys. Thank you.